So Caleb Williams played like shit. I'm not denying it. I'm not here to mince words with you. It was absolutely a dreadful first performance. But unlike all of the NFL trolls that took to Twitter and social media to blast the kid who paints his nails and label him the biggest bust of all time, I think that this was really good for Caleb. In fact, if I had to describe in a singular word what this debut looked like for Caleb, it would be necessary. And like I said, I'm fired up today. So let's talk about it. Cue the title screen. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, football fans all over to Brewz'd, the podcast that does three things: talks beer, talks football, and bruises egos. Now, before we get into our NFL topics, we do have to talk about our very manly beer today. Foggy Geezer Hazy India Pale Ale. It's a 7.3%er. I've already got this little thing poured. Take a look at that. Nice little head on it. Cheers. Oh, that's remarkable. Let me get another sip of that. This beer's got a little bite to it. Very dry, very hoppy flavor, but on a hot day, and it's 80 degrees here in Wisconsin, that is the perfect beer for sitting out on your porch. Really, really good. Again, that's by War Pigs Brewing, Foggy Geezer India Pale Ale, 7.3%. All right, let's talk a little bit more football, shall we? So Caleb Williams and his debut against the Tennessee Titans did not go nearly as planned. There's a stat going around right now on social media that says Caleb Williams is the first rookie quarterback since 2002 to win his opening game. Since then, quarterbacks have been 0-14-1, and it's a misleading title. What it should say is that the Bears' defense and special teams carried Caleb to his first victory. Fixed it for you. Now, I don't know if you watched any of this game. I watched every second of it. There might not be a better duo at cornerback than Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. Those two are insane. And the Bears defense is no joke. They are going to keep the Bears in a lot of games this season. But unlike back in 2002, 2003, and basically up until 2010, it used to be that if you had a strong running game and a really good defense, you were considered to be one of the best teams in the NFL. In fact, offense at that point was only to really just win you games. Defense wins championships. That's not the case anymore. It's actually flip-flopped. Defense, good defenses, will win you games. But you need a good quarterback and you need a really dynamic offense to win Super Bowls. Now, the Bears are a long way from a Super Bowl, and Caleb Williams has only had one NFL start. Let's pump the brakes for a second. Let's talk about what he did wrong first and then get into what he did right. So the first things that he did that were wrong were obviously his statistics look terrible. He missed 4 wide open throws. These are easy NFL throws. I'm not talking about the fades and the bombs down the field that are 50-50 balls. I'm talking about the easy checkdowns. I'm talking about the curl routes, the slant routes, the stick routes that you see all of these wide receivers doing in their sleep. And other NFL quarterbacks make in their sleep. He missed 4 of those wide open passes. So that's the first thing. His mechanics got sloppy. And that's because of his nerves. It's his first game. He does this thing where he throws sidearm. He tries to get the ball out quicker, so he tries to flick his wrist. Now, he's not a very big guy. He's only 6'1". When you're going up against a defensive lineman who's 6'4" or 6'5", and you drop your arm angle and your release point is lower, who do you think is going to win that battle? Not Caleb. So his height is a little bit of a disadvantage there. He's got to do a little bit more young Russell Wilson. He's got to maneuver himself in the pocket, and that comes with quiet feet, which leads me to my next point. His feet weren't quiet. In fact, his feet were all over the place. He looked nervous. He looked indecisive. He looked like he was scrambling, like a rabbit. He was just bouncing all over the place. But that's all to be expected. He's a kid. He's 22 years old, and confidence right now is a key for Caleb. You see, many NFL starting veterans, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, all the guys that have been doing this for 5, 6+ years, they all know that if you have 2 to 3 bad drives, it doesn't deter you from the game plan or the flow of the game. You go back, you sit on your tablet, you watch film, and then you go out the next drive and you execute. It's easy. But for young rookie quarterbacks like Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, they have no point of reference. They have no idea what is in store for them. So what do? They get nervous. They have 2 to 3 bad drives, and they start getting erratic with their mechanics. Arm angles go sloppy. Feet get all indecisive. They're not reading the field as much. They're relying more on their athleticism. Jaden Daniels yesterday ran the ball 16 times. You think every single one of those was a design QB run? Please. Caleb did a couple of things like that later in the game as well. He made one read, and then he looked to scramble because he knew, hey, I don't have enough time to get this ball out. I either have to flick it out into the dirt or I've got to make something happen with my legs, which is a very young and inexperienced thing to do. You've got to stay calm, maneuver yourself in the pocket, go through your progressions, and trust that your offensive line is going to hold up long enough. Now, the Bears' offensive line didn't do that. So there is a part of this that is on the Bears' offensive line, not just Caleb. They had a poor outing for their first game. In fact, it was by far way worse than any performance they had combined last year. And last year, their offensive line wasn't really that bad. It was actually okay. It was probably 14th or 15th, if I remember correctly, on PFF's grade. So they had a decent offensive line. Not great, not elite, but right in the middle. Yesterday, I think they might have been ranked 30th or 31st. Maybe not last because Carolina's was awful, but it would probably be way, way down there. So they didn't play well either. The fact is, Caleb needed this performance. He needed to know that this is my welcome to the NFL moment. Now, it's not going to get easier. You play the Texans next week on Sunday Night Football. So this is prime time. If there was ever a time to be nervous, it's for that game. So here's what Caleb needs to do. He needs to sit back. He needs to trust that the offensive line is going to protect him. He needs to stick to the game plan, get the ball out early and on time, and just complete consecutive passes. It's something he didn't do yesterday. In fact, I think he only completed 2 consecutive passes all day long. That's not good enough. You need 4, 5, 6 passes in a row for you to get to feel really, really comfortable. It's like a baseball player. You don't need to always get a hit, a double, a home run. Sometimes you just need to make contact. And if you make contact 5 times in a row, eventually you're going to find the green grass. I want to get to my bruised balls segment just a little bit early today. So who deserves a quick, swift kick in the nuts? Here's looking at you, entire New York Giants offense. First of all, you don't want to admit that you overpaid not just for a mediocre quarterback, but for a bad one. In fact, the only contract that might be worse than Daniel Jones is Deshaun Watson, and that's because his doesn't come with any massages. Let's talk about the facts of what happened this past Sunday. You were at home. You didn't score a single touchdown. You got blown out by the Vikings, who are led by Sam Darnold, who, by the way, is on his 4th team. And they didn't have TJ Hawkinson, which is like a saving grace for a quarterback who struggles with accuracy because tight ends are known for getting open on easy, quick routes and play action plays. You lost 28-6. You got sacked 5 times. Daniel Jones had a quarterback rating of 44.3. And again, you're paying this guy $150 million. It's time to just stop kidding yourself. So here's what I'm suggesting you do. If you truly believe that you can win with Daniel Jones, not only are you delusional, but keep going ahead and playing him, I guarantee you'll win maybe 3 games this year. If you're really serious about moving on from Daniel Jones, the time to bench him is next week. Play Drew Lock. It can't be much worse. And all the fans will know that if you are benching Daniel Jones, not only are you going to be looking to dump that contract, but you're also serious about drafting a new franchise quarterback. Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, all will be better prospects than Daniel Jones was. I'm starting to believe that Duke quarterbacks might just be the most overrated college quarterbacks in the nation. Daniel Jones, Riley Leonard for Notre Dame, both of these guys cannot throw the ball over the middle of the field. They just can't do it. It's awful. I've never seen anything like it. And truthfully, I'm at a loss. I can't tell you why they won't unlock the center of the field. Daniel Jones likes to throw these quick little out routes. Same with Riley Leonard. They play the ball and they play their game at the line of scrimmage, and they rely on their halfway decent athleticism to get them yards on the ground. That's who they are. It's who they're always going to be. So if the Giants can't bench Daniel Jones, suck up their pride, and just admit that we made a mistake in a multitude of areas, it's going to be a long season. That's all for me today. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and throw a comment underneath the video below. Let me know if you agree with any of my takes. Do you think that I'm wrong? Do you think that I'm crazy? Do you think that I'm right? I don't care. Let's argue in the comment section below. Just leave a comment. It helps me push out more NFL and college football content that you love. Week 1 of the NFL season is just about done and over with, and I will see you later on this week. Be cool.